Hey everyone, it's Sarah, and I am joined by my husband, Scott, Mr. Sterling, the voice of Lake Cliff.
That's me.
Since we just released our fourth audio book in the Kill, we thought we would do something special. Instead of doing our normal podcast, we thought we would talk all about Scott's audiobooks.
Yay!
Yay! Because he's been doing an amazing job with them. But because we're going to focus on the audiobooks, I asked some of our listeners and readers on Facebook if they had any questions, and they helped me put together a list, and I thank you guys for that. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in and get to those. Starting out, Mr. Sterling, I'm sure that going into doing this, you had some idea of what it was going to be like. Is it harder than you thought it would be, or has it been easier, or as you expected?
It's a little bit of both. It's. I didn't think that. I thought we were going to be way out of our element and kind of in over our heads, which we were a little bit. But we've made this work. But there are definitely some things that I did not expect to be. Like being able to breathe while you're narrating. You don't really expect that. But when you're reading something that's, somebody is prepared to be read, not spoken, you run into these sentences that's like,
a paragraph?
A little bit longer maybe than you expect. And it's like, halfway through you're gasping for breath, so you got to kind of go back and regroup. But
okay.
I think overall it's been a lot of work to learn how to do all this stuff. But
we'll get into some of that later, like the technical stuff.
I think overall, I was surprised that we actually got it done, and now we're 3-4 books into it. So,
okay, so we've talked about the hardest part. What is something that surprised you about it that you weren't expecting?
I guess I was surprised that we handle everything from start to finish. Like, my biggest thing was I had no idea about editing or anything like that. And the tools are out there. They're good. They're free. And, it took some work, but we got it done. Actually going in the booth and talking, I don't know. I never was really scared of that. I was kind of scared about what happens after you get done recording.
Okay. Well, we talked about the favorite part? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part? Probably us going down there and just doing it and kind of being ridiculous in the booth for, 2 or 3 hours while we try to knock out a couple chapters. And, you get into the sex scenes, and sometimes, I don't know if you guys have heard the
Imagine two 12-year-olds.
Yeah. Imagine two 12-year-olds trying to get through a sex scene. And, we have a really good time. I think the first book was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. The problem is you've got really good at editing now, and you're so much faster that you stop recording and delete before you save the really fun stuff now. So we don't have as many outtakes as we did in the first book.
Okay, but most of the outtakes would be just me cussing at myself and calling myself names. So
okay,
stupid. Why can't you talk?
Yeah, well. Or I do throw some challenges at you, like with those big sentences and also some words. It's
inestimable.
Well, you've said it fine now, but
yeah,
it costs us about 20 minutes in the recording room.
In the middle of a long sentence, trying to nail it every time.
Yes. Okay. So Lorraine asked, does Scott allow his personalities to take over, or is he always Scott when you're recording? Is it the character that we're getting, or is it you?
You're getting me. I don't think I ever let the characters take over, mostly because I've got this one in the booth with me, poking me in the ribs every 2 seconds, and going, hey, that's not the way I want it. Hey,
I do have a
do it like this.
I do have a very set vision or sound for each character in my head.
Yeah.
And I do get really kind of...
Which is fine. I mean, that's, to me, it's you're the director, so you're directing, making sure that I'm giving it the way that you want it. That's fine, but
I can be a little bit of a
Well, and
whip cracker.
I'm not really a method actor either, so it's like when you've got multiple characters, you can't just jump into Aiden and then jump over to Lane. That's maybe a little bit beyond me. So we approach it much more like get this line, deliver it properly, move on to the next.
So how do you prepare to be the voice?
Well, I have coffee. Probably shouldn't do that.
An allergy pill.
Allergy pill, because our recording room is evidently full of allergens.
Well, it's weird because as soon as you get in the booth and you get in your seat and you get going, all of a sudden you get congested, your nose starts running, it's like all phlegmy, and he's fine. Like, he could be fine talking to me for 2 hours, and then as soon as we start recording...
I get a frog in my throat, and it's like, where the hell did that come from? And part of it is, I don't know how much we don't notice it going through the day, because if you're just talking and you get a little bit of frog in your throat, it's just like, clear your throat, move on. But when you're recording that, and it's got to be perfect, and so, allergy pills, our stomach sounds, oh my god.
No, and we're a little like, was that you or me?
Yeah, because it never fails. Have a nice breakfast. You got to be careful what you eat, because some things will make you, more phlegmy than others. I didn't realize that getting into this.
Yeah.
But if you don't get food in your stomach, then your stomach's in there going, feed me, meat bag, and you can hear that. And it never fails. We're in this tiny, quiet booth. Your stomach takes off, and it's like the loudest thing you've ever heard in your life. So, but I have a morning prep that I go through. Being the voice of Lake Cliff, man, I didn't even believe this was going to work when we first started it. So,
you did think I was kind of nuts, and you were like, you didn't like that because you didn't like your voice?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I hear voice actors narrating books, and it's always like the deep voice, Tim Curry kind of people. And I don't know. I was just like, that ain't me. But it's worked out. People have liked it, so.
Yeah, and so, so John Johnson asked, my Melissa's husband, asked, how do you have to regroup a lot? Because Aiden is a beast. And I don't know what he meant by Aiden is a beast. I don't know if he means like some of his lines, because he doesn't have a filter and, the humor is really, more fun with him. Or if he means, the sexual
He's
things.
a machine.
He's a machine. But yeah, do you find you have to regroup a lot?
All in all, we regroup constantly.
Constantly. There are times when I'm just like, please get the line.
If you guys could see the final audio tracks and how with all the edits that I do in there, it would look like a nightmare, because it's almost like it's far more common for us to do a sentence and then go back and redo that sentence like 2 or 3 times. It's far more common to do that than for me to actually get a paragraph out in one take.
Yeah.
So there's constant regrouping, whether it's her not liking the way the character said it, and that happens a lot. I'll read it and I'll take something a little bit different away from it, and she's like, no, he's being questioning here, not assertive, and it's like, oh, okay, so we got to go back and do that. Or it's me stumbling over my own tongue because, I'm a
Or I just give you a run-on sentence with stupid words.
There's like a 3-paragraph sentence, and it's like, okay, we have to break this up. So yeah, it's constant.
What are some challenges to recording that you weren't expecting, or that you don't think that people know about, or, would be aware of?
I mean, there's some obvious things what people aren't aware of. I mean, the fact that we live in the middle of the Battle of Britain.
Well, or it'll be like
soundproof your room really well. And it's almost like it doesn't matter. I mean, like, you're supposed to have a soundproof room in the middle of your house because that protects you from outside sounds. We didn't really have that choice because the only appropriate room was toward the outside of the house.
It's a dry sauna.
Yeah.
Converted into the recording room.
And
but we also live between 2 airports.
We live between 2 airports
next to a really loud road.
A stone's throw away from a major street that, has constantly got trucks going down. And so that really surprised me because we're in there and it's like,
you could just nail a line and then it's like, Rawr!
It's like all the Amazon trucks in this city are going by at the same time. And it's just like, come on, guys, And so that was kind of, I kind of realized that was a thing. I don't think I realized how big it was. The personal body sounds, I think we talked about. I mean, that's just like ridiculous sometimes. Besides that, the rest of it I kind of expected. It's a little bit like acting. You just don't have to look good. You know, you can be in your underwear while you're doing it.
Well, and I also threw you a really unique challenge. And readers have mentioned this, and they appreciate it. I pretty much made all my characters from the same region. They are all like middle-aged white dudes from the Midwest.
Very distinctive voice patterns.
Yeah, no. So he's done a brilliant job at finding different voices and characters for each one of them. But how do you? Let's discuss how you.
So we go back to it. I kind of always assumed that was just the way you did it. You know, I mean, I just think that that's really important in listening to it because, you know, what's the difference if you're just reading it off the page or if you're giving these people distinct vocal patterns? How we do it, you know, basically you look at the character, and first thing I look at is where's this character from? Obviously, well, Lane's from Oklahoma, so at least I got something to work with there.
How did we get you to Lane?
Matthew McConaughey.
And he would have...
all right. And I swear to God, every time the first book, every time we lost it, she would be like, no, all right. And I'd be like, okay, go back, reset, get it back into Lane. Aiden was a little bit different. I didn't have to look at where he was from. I looked at the Asperger's and just looked at the fact that he would probably be delivering everything very soft and flat, and that became Aiden. But that's every character. When we start talking about what are we going to do with this character, okay, where is he from? He's from St. Louis.
Nice, Sarah. Thanks.
Can I get somebody from Georgia? Can I get somebody from, I don't know, Maine? Can I get some Europeans? Let's get to Carlton House someday.
Oh, I'm so nervous about Carlton House because that's going to be a whole bunch of different British accents that we've got to sort out.
Whatever.
And we're not British
at
all.
That's not all of it, though. I mean, you get the accent from where they're from, but you're also going to get like their mannerisms, like we talked about with Aiden, his mannerisms. Do they have a high voice? Do they have a deep voice? You know, and you kind of use that and stick to that and make that the character so that when they're talking, they're recognizable.
And going back, that was kind of a challenge, I think, with the fourth book, because we already had voices for Aiden, voices for Lane, but then we had to think about, you know, pretty soon we're going to have Aiden, Lane, Lavender, and Sage on the same page, basically.
Well, then after that, we're going to have
the narration.
Aiden, Lane, Sage, Lavender, totally.
Yeah, so we had to make sure that we had
John,
like very
Ringo.
distinct, you know, so that we could keep the reader or the listener with you, and know who, you know, follow along. But that was, you know, that was a big.
Lavender and Sage were.
Those were really hard, and we actually ended up. We got about 4 chapters in, and we both looked at each other and said,
"I don't like it."
We don't like it. We both didn't like either of them for different reasons, and it wasn't where it was in my head. And you didn't like it, and it was also a matter of finding characters that you could fit into easily or get back to,
Owen
shift
Wilson.
to. I did make the mistake of suggesting Owen Wilson for Sage, because I like the quality of his voice, but then it ended up being like days and days of.
Wow. Wow.
So that was, I really kind of shot myself in the foot with that.
That was my all right. For Sage was wow. And it was like, no, it was, yeah.
But no,
it
was like the curse for that whole book.
Wow.
I wish I hadn't done that. But we got there, and I ended up just so in love with those two. And now they all work really good when they get together, because we're working on the 5th book. And so we've got, you know, them all together in Lake Cliff. And yeah, they sound really great. And it's just, I'm so excited for everybody to hear them all together. 'Cause I think 5 was the book I was most...
Hide and Kill.
Yeah. But, okay, well, that takes us to the next batch of questions. Who is your favorite character?
I think Aiden's my favorite character. I think it would be Lavender, except Lavender is her baby. And so everything Lavender says, no. I've never done one take on Lavender. I've never nailed it the first time on Lavender.
Because, okay.
I get it. But Aiden was a voice that I just kind of naturally fell into. It just kind of came to me. And then just his personality it's hilarious to me.
Well, I think
it's relatable.
Yeah. Well, and I was just saying that I think the amazing thing about Aiden is that, he has Asperger's, and he approaches the world so differently, or thinks of things so differently, or from a different angle. But everybody just seems to really relate and connect with him more than other characters. And I don't know if it's just that, you want to just kind of absorb him and, you know what I mean, like protect him, or if it's just, I don't know, the quality of your voice. It's just something so kind of compelling about that, I think.
Yeah.
Or that just kind of draws you in. But, okay. What book are you looking forward to doing here in the future?
So, I'm kind of torn, because I am looking forward to Carlton House. She's kind of,
well, there's some babies there. Like, Roman is going to be really hard for me to...
Yeah, so I don't look forward to that, but I just kind of dig the whole, I don't know, counterculture scene that they get into. I think that'll be fun. I think In the Wind should be fun, because it's going to be challenging.
Everybody.
Because everybody's there. So right now, I have to say In the Wind, because I think that's the direction we're going to go, right? All the way through Lake Cliff and then to Carlton House.
Well, we also have to do the adjacents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think In the Wind is the one I'm looking forward to, because it's going to be tough, but we get to see everybody come together.
Yeah, you have Aiden and Lane and Lavender and Sage, but then we also have Tully and Wilder and the whole gang, and Paul. And Paul is going to be a big challenge for us.
Well, Ezra and is in there as well.
Ezra and Denver.
So
all guys without accents of any kind. So that's.
Thanks a lot.
We'll have to see what we do there to keep that all separate for everybody. Okay. So, favorite character, favorite book. Who does the editing and post-production on these books?
This guy.
That guy.
I do basically everything after voice editing. She directs. I do the voice acting. And then when we're done with that chapters for the day, I come upstairs and do the editing and post-processing, getting it all ready to go to ACX. So, yeah, we do everything on these books. And this is something that, if you look at the normal process, authors put out, calls for their books, and voice actors audition, and then you've got a producer, and then you've got an editor, and there's like 4 or 5 different people that get involved in this, and we end up doing everything. She does the promos for us to do, put out on Facebook and other places, and we do everything. It's a one-stop shop.
Well, I am very lucky that I get to be in the room with you when you record, because I know a lot of authors don't have that luxury.
I'm not.
Well, I mean, I guess that is.
I don't know, because if I was doing this for another author, and I've thought about this before, if another author wanted me to narrate their book, I don't know if it would be harder or easier, because then you've got to give this author what they want, but they're not there while you're doing it.
Yeah, so I don't know how.
You got to kind of audition. You got to kind of do the first chapter and go, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Sounds good, doesn't sound, whatever. I've got instant feedback that can be annoying sometimes, but
oh no, because I will say, I don't know like how many times we've had to do certain passes on some things, but it is kind of like, well, I'm a little bit,
it's not just that though. I mean, you've got 2 different brains, interpreting something completely different and then trying to get to the same place. So it's a communication challenge. It's kind of rough, but
so I do literally just sit with you in the booth and read along and go, no, do that 20 times. Put the emphasis on this word this time. Okay, let's try this last word and emphasize that this time. but then, we do that for 2-3 hours, and then I just leave it all in your hands. And then you bring it upstairs and
because
put on your headphones.
the vocal quality is done at that point. What I'm doing is doing the sound quality, the background, removing the background noises, getting it. You have to get the average volume of your track to a certain specific spot for ACX, because they don't want you to be super quiet, when the customer turns it up too loud or whatever. So there's some stuff that you have to figure out, which was kind of challenging in the beginning. But once you've got it down, now it's like every track I go into, I know what I'm going to have to do, because it's our booth, it's our process.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the technical side. For people who might be considering going into voice acting and narrating, what would be some suggestions that you would give them?
I think first thing I would do is really go through, if you're going to go through ACX, and ACX isn't the only one out there, but look at who you're going to be publishing through and figure out, because we wasted a lot of time in the beginning not knowing that there even were specific standards for certain things. And
we just jumped in and started recording.
Yeah. And, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I watched a lot of ACX tutorials. So I would say go there first and look at it, as opposed to after the fact like we did. Because we wasted a lot of time not even knowing those things were there. So
we went back and redid the first book because we did not like the sound quality. And we figured out how to fix the echoes. And
but so check that out first. The tools are out there. Anybody can do it. You may have to invest in a nice microphone and setting up your booth. But Audacity is free, and it's really easy to use once you get used to it. You can do everything in that. But look at tutorials and get an idea of what you're going to be biting off.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to do voice acting, then focus on setting up your booth, getting the proper equipment for your booth, your microphone, whatever computer you're going to use, etc., etc. But if you're going to bite off everything like we did, there's a lot of research you should do, and do it first as opposed to jumping in, because it'll save you a lot of time. And you may find something and just go, nah, I don't want to do that. And you can focus in on exactly the stuff you want to do. Get a microphone, get a cheap little microphone, and download Audacity for free, and just record some stuff. Play around with it and see if you even like doing it. And if you can make yourself sound like an audiobook narrator, and you like the sound of it, go for it. Because if we can do it, I'm pretty sure other people can.
Holy cow! We're like the disaster twins.
Oh, did you know that this has to be? Well, it'll be another week. We have to wait for.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of hindsight learning.
Yeah.
And catching up quick and on the fly.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that covers all of our questions.
Awesome.
Thank you for letting me interview you.
Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for being the voice of Lake
I had to come all the way down here.
And you guys, thank you for watching. We will add links to our Facebook account so you can follow us there, and Twitter, and blogs, and books, and websites. So check those out and follow us wherever you can, and listen to us on the podcast. Thank you for tuning in.
Comment on her glasses.
Hey.
Holy cow!
My Harry Carey glasses. All right. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Bye.